So every year during flu season, I get a lot of questions about what my family is going to be doing for, flu season. Do we vaccinate? Do we not vaccinate? So it's probably no surprise that we don't vaccinate. But I think that in our society today, we hear so much about the flu vaccine that it seems like it's the only real option there is out there to prevent the flu or to help mitigate the symptoms of the flu. I know that my friend's kids go to school in Florida, to public school in Florida, and I think her district, for sure her elementary school, is offering flu shots to the entire student body, and she actually had to fill out a form to ask them not to vaccinate her kids. And to me, that's just so crazy that, our society has reached a point where it is just common and normal to vaccinate for something like the flu and not even consider other options. I believe that true health and true freedom is when you have options at your disposal. And this video, that's all it's about. It's going to be a really quick video, but the goal is to provide you with options about the flu vaccine. So let's start by talking about what is actually in the flu vaccine. So in the 2017 vaccine, there will be 4 different strains of the flu virus. So we've got the H1N1, H3N2, we have the Brisbane one, and then I am not going to pronounce that. And I'll let you try and pronounce it yourself. I'm going to sound like I'm saying a swear word. But then there's formaldehyde, aluminum, gelatin, thimerosal, chicken egg proteins, and antibiotics, of course. So this is a picture of my son. This summer, he sat down in one of those lawn chairs, and it had, I guess the bottom was broke, and he fell right through to the other side and didn't really get what he was expecting from that chair. And that is how I feel about the conventional flu vaccine. You think that you're getting one thing, but you're actually getting another. My friend Rose, when her mom was still living, she was in a nursing home towards the end of her life. And before she passed away, her family decided that they were going to decline the flu vaccine for mom. And what's interesting is that the year that she declined the flu vaccine, everybody in the nursing home, just about everyone, got the flu except for her mom, who was one of the few that declined the flu vaccine. And so it's just really interesting when you really investigate and you start asking questions and you start looking at the facts that there are better options, for against the flu vaccine. So right here I have a couple of articles that I pulled together. This is published in 2017 talking about that the vaccine is ineffective for people 65 years and older. Here's another article that talks about how if you get the flu vaccine, it actually increases your risk of getting the pandemic flu illness. And then this one right here, this last one that just popped up, is one that came out from PubMed, just talking about how it actually increases your propensity to get a serious respiratory disease from the flu vaccine. So let me jump into some options, because I didn't want to spend a lot of time about, talking about the flu vaccine. I want to talk about the options instead. So PubMed, I'm sure you guys are familiar with it. It's a free search engine that accesses primarily databases of a medical nature. So it gives references of abstracts on the subject of life sciences and biomedical topics. So if your doctor wants to look something up, like if he wants to research or reference a medical article or learn about a new drug, PubMed is likely where he goes. There is this incredible article on PubMed. I'll let you read the title and review the different scientists that participated in the research. So this is a pretty exciting article because it basically demonstrates that there are alternatives to vaccines that help your body overcome both the propensity to get the flu as well as mitigating its symptoms if you do get the flu. And this article specifically looks at the use of powdered bovine colostrum. And I'm not going to say that colostrum will prevent you from getting the flu, but it will definitely reduce the propensity that you have to get the flu. And if you do get the flu, it will shorten the duration that you experience flu-like symptoms. So let's look at this article. It's pretty exciting because Dr. Maria Cicerone found that over a 2-month treatment where she gave people oral colostrum, it was 3 times more effective in preventing the flu than was the influenza vaccination. And also for those using colostrum who did contract the flu, because some people who were using the colostrum did get the flu, they only suffered 1/3 as much time or days as the group who received the vaccination or no treatment at all. So again, just to be clear, it doesn't say that colostrum will outright prevent the flu, but the colostrum was demonstrated to be at least 3 times more effective than the vaccination to prevent the flu or mitigate its symptoms as far as how long it lasted. So adding to this study, I read of another article that resulting in not one single individual who took the colostrum and who got the flu needing to go to the hospital. So in other words, of those people in that research study that did take the colostrum, not one of them had to go to the hospital even though they had the flu. So that's a pretty wonderful, I think, study that shows us that the colostrum really boosts our immune system and allows us to either fight off the flu from even getting it and then fighting off its symptoms if you do get it. So it's pretty exciting information. So let's talk about what is colostrum real quick. This is a picture of my barn cats, and they are drinking some raw milk that I had just milked out from the cow. So colostrum is not actually milk. Colostrum is actually a pre-milk product that is produced by the cow within 24 or 48 hours after the calf is born. And it contains immune system and growth factors needed by the calf. So it only has perhaps traces of casein, which is the milk protein. So if the calf does not receive the mother's colostrum within 24 to 48 hours, the calf will actually die. That's how impactful the colostrum is to the baby calf. So what's interesting about cow colostrum in particular, as opposed to like goat colostrum or colostrum from a lot of different mammals, is that it is similar to human colostrum. So what that means is that cow colostrum is a universal donor for all mammals, including humans. And basically, how does colostrum work? Well, throughout your life, you build antibodies. And when a woman or a female mammal gives birth, that colostrum is filled with those antibodies that they have produced throughout their life. And it is passed into the colostrum. So when a human drinks the colostrum from a cow, okay, those antibodies are donated to us and our body adopts them as if they were coming from our mother's milk. So again, the colostrum from a cow, from bovine, is very similar in the makeup to the human colostrum. We assimilate and utilize the antibody in the colostrum just as if it was from our own mothers. So what we like to say is it's basically getting a blueprint of a healthy immune system and depositing it into our bodies. That's why it's so effective in the case of the flu. So this is a cute picture of my little boy. We're at a, dinosaur museum thing. So my family does not opt for the flu vaccine. Instead, we opt for the colostrum. It's just so exciting that now there's great research on colostrum in particular. For my family, I want to avoid all those ingredients in the vaccines. I feel like our world is toxic enough. I'll tell you right now that last night, I'm in the Houston area. Last night, our county was sprayed with a mosquito control all over the county. And they used a chemical called, I don't know how to pronounce it. It's NALED, NALED. This chemical is actually banned in Europe and Puerto Rico. And there are even indications that it can cause harm to an unborn fetus. So our world is plenty toxic. We can't escape everything no matter how hard we try. We live on a little homestead and we have a pretty good handle on what kind of products come onto our farm. But even we are not immune or protected from the toxicity of our world. And so I don't want to contribute to that toxicity by giving the formaldehyde, the mercury, the aluminum, and even those foreign those foreign viruses that are given in the flu shot. I just feel like, taking the flu shot is an accident waiting to happen, just like with this picture of my son. So another interesting thing about the vaccine that makes me uncomfortable is because it's injected, it bypasses the body's naturally built ability to detoxify. So when you drink something or you eat something, the gut and our gastrointestinal system, including the kidneys and liver, those all kind of detoxify and protect your body. But when it's injected directly into your bloodstream, we bypass all of that. And so your body isn't as able to deal with, you know, the toxic nature of what you took. So for us, we actually used to buy colostrum from an Amish farmer when we lived in Virginia. And then we moved, and I had a really hard time finding another source, a local source for colostrum. I actually think it's really great if you can find a local source for colostrum, a consistent, reliable source. I think it's great to support local farms and local farmers. They're working their tail off to give you some wonderful products. But you know, when I couldn't find anything local for a long time, I kind of gave up. There was another brand of colostrum that I found out there, but they actually removed things from the colostrum and added things to the colostrum, and it wasn't pure, raw, dried colostrum. And so my friend Rose hooked me up with Novate, which is a wonderful brand, and you can visit this website to learn more about it. Today, I just buy the Novate Colostrum 6, and the number 6 right here that you see in the colostrum just means that the colostrum was taken within 6 hours of birth, meaning that the concentration of colostrum is higher, you know, because as hours go on, the cow starts to produce milk, you know. So basically that means that there's a reduced amount of casein and a higher concentration of colostrum, and that's really great, especially for people who are sensitive to, you know, to milk protein. So we take half a teaspoon morning and night. We put it underneath our gums and let it absorb, you know, through our gums as long as possible. But we also add it to milkshakes whenever we make a yummy milkshake. So that's what you see here in the picture. I get it wholesale right now. This is like the smallest size you can buy, and this is what I used to buy at first. And so I actually buy the 1 gallon size for my family every month, but you can see that the wholesale price is a little bit cheaper. And I call it the Costco membership. If you want to get it at the wholesale price, you just pay $20 a year. I mean, that's nothing. That's just to get your wholesale membership, and then you can get it at the reduced price. Obviously, when you buy more, it actually becomes significantly cheaper per ounce. So I think, you know, for a whole gallon, which is, you know, I think 120 ounces, pay about $100 for that. So you can see that it just gets significantly cheaper if you buy a little bit more. But for a family of 5, we use about a gallon a month, and so that's what we get. So a lot of you guys might be wondering, you know, if you've taken my homeopathy classes, you're probably wondering where homeopathy fits into all of this. Well, for me, food is what keeps us healthy, because homeopathy in general does not prevent illness in the way that a high quality diet can. And that's what colostrum is to me. It's a food. It's not really a supplement. So you can't overdose on the colostrum. I will say that the colostrum itself is so wonderful for your immune system that some people do experience a little bit of detox. So I like recommending starting with that half a teaspoon morning and night, just to see, you know, how your body, you know, for me, for example, we eat such a high quality diet that I've never even had detox reactions to colostrum. But, you know, it just depends on where you're at with your health. So do start slow, but you definitely can't overdose on it. So you could, you know, eat the whole tub, although I wouldn't recommend it. And you wouldn't be like overdosing on it as you would, you know, a prescription medication or something like that. So it is food. So as far as homeopathy goes, I just don't fear illness as much as I used to, because if I do get sick, I have homeopathy that helps me treat the symptoms of the illness as my body uproots it. And then I have the colostrum and a high quality diet that, you know, kind of protects me. But as far as homeopathy goes, I do teach an introductory class on homeopathic prophylaxis, and I love that class. It's really fascinating. It's a really wonderful discussion on alternative to vaccines. But homeopathic prophylaxis is basically a homeopathic treatment that is given to prevent a specific illness. So if you want a crash course on homeopathic prophylaxis for the flu, there's a great article. If you go to Duet Calabrese's website, you can sign up under free resources here. And she has an article. She has several articles in the free resources area, but there's one that's titled "Eschew the Flu," and she gives a basic protocol on how you can use homeopathic remedies to prevent the flu. So I really don't do a lot of the prophylaxis right now for the flu, again, because of all the other reasons I've given, especially really because of the colostrum now. But if I was in a situation where I had like a newborn in my house, or someone was immune compromised and I was really worried about the flu vaccine, I would do the colostrum in addition to what Joette recommends as a prophylaxis for the flu. In that article, she's going to talk about a specific remedy that you're supposed to use. It's called influenzinum, and there's a couple of different places where you can get it. If you have taken my study group class, you have access to OHM Pharma. And they do sell influenzinum, and you can even get this year's version of the nosode. They haven't released it yet, but it will say 2017, 2018. And so every year I tend to get that year's influenzinum. But another place that sells it is actually Dana Ullman. He's an American homeopath, and this is his website right here. And he sells influenzinum, but he uses 9C. I think Joette recommends a 200C, and you can get the 200C from OHM if you have access to that. But he sells the 9C, and he already has the 2017-2018 version available. And actually, he provides a different protocol. You see right here, a protocol for how to use his remedies will be provided with the order. So it's going to be a little bit different than the one Joette talks about right here. But, there's just more than one way to skin a cat. Now, if you're super overwhelmed with all this information and you don't know what I'm talking about, these homeopathic remedies, that's probably because you haven't taken my class. At the time of this recording, I have a class starting this Thursday. And so I welcome you to sign up for it. You can go to my study group, like the where I talk about when I'm going to host classes on Facebook. It's just Homeopathy Study Groups with Paula. If you search that, it'll pop up and you can sign up for it here. But if you watch this recording and it's, we're past the date and I've already started my class and you can't sign up anymore, you can visit this page because I will provide notifications of when my next class after this one will happen. I usually teach it about twice a year, and most of them are concentrated around the summer months when I'm not homeschooling my kids. But finally, going back to colostrum, if this subject entices you and you think it's interesting and you want to learn more about colostrum, not just in relationship to preventing the flu virus, but why it would be wonderful for a lot of other ailments and building your immune system, I teach a 2-hour class on it, and it's free. It's on YouTube. You can find it right here if you go to tinyurl.com/Paola Colostrum. And I talk about, a lot of information with colostrum and why it's so fascinating and why it is a food that I think everybody should have. So I hope this has been helpful, and I hope this quick little info video was short enough for you. And please send me a private message if you want to ask me questions, if you want to try a sample size. You don't have to sign up for that wholesale $20 a year. If you don't want to, actually at first I didn't. I just bought it retail price because I just wanted to try it out, and that's fine too. So send me a private message and I'm happy to help you out with that. Thanks.